just as a last sort of broad question, we talked briefly about some of your articles in Italia che Cambia, and that sounds like just such a fascinating project that you can set up. So go with it, please. Tell us about Italia che Cambia.
Well, I came across these group of people by accident. I was introduced to them by a friend of mine who's a film director. He makes really interesting social documentaries. And they were in the first months of operation. It was set up by a small group of independent journalists who, by working with various outlets, were all fed up of having to report only bad news. They said, well, of course, bad news always sell better than good news. But why is it that here in Italy, which is a country with incredible resources and really great people in some areas, why is it that we only seem to talk about bad things that happen in Italy and how bad the Italians are at doing things? And they decided to go around and try and discover if there was something good happening. And so well, two of them started on a trip with a camper van, and just through word of mouth, they would go around the country and ask, well, do you know of any interesting positive initiatives, any young people who had success with something original, etc. And in a few months, they came across much more than they were expecting, lots of really small, but interesting, innovative, positive situations. And so they wrote a book. And then they set up Italia che Cambia as an online magazine that mainly goes around documenting and reporting good practice, good initiatives, positive success stories of young people who did something unexpected and out of the conventional. And then they started expanding into trying to create a network. So now there are regional offices which act as a sort of filter, as a sort of connecting point, so that in the website you can search by region and by subject. So if you, let's say, if you want to set up an organic farm and you're looking for partners, or you want to see if there's already one working where you can join, etc., you search and you network. And I must say that the number of interesting positive initiatives it's encouraging. I mean, there's a lot of good happening, and just like here in Italy, I'm sure it's the same in every country. The trouble is that most of these realities very often are like little islands, and they lack the resources, they lack the communication ability to network with others. So the idea would be that, of course, you're not going to change the world that way, but it is good to let people know about good things happening and put them in touch, because it's one of those little actions that we can carry out, and just putting good seeds around and hoping that they take. So
I love that. I mean, those of us that work in the arts, you know, it seems on so many occasions, you know, the art is kind of useless. Like, you know, it's something that I think people in the industry recognize to a certain extent, whilst at the same time knowing that it's very difficult to articulate how useful it is to have something that gives hope, or something that gives identity, or something that gives something so intangible as is the experience of some kind of cultural experience, whether it's visual or musical or whatever. And I think that is kind of in the same way something that it's necessary. It's doing low-level change that is really like life-affirming, essentially. I mean, what arts and culture and these small initiatives are doing is just basically reaffirming us in that we have reasons to keep enjoying life and making it work.